Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and to another installment in the Copper and Wood Chute Mountain Railroad. If you're watching last week, you will have seen me install the fascia around the drop flap. This week I'm going to get the fascia finished, get it painted and mount everything on it. So without further ado, let's just head out to the workshop and get it done. I have another full sheet of masonite available. So now I'm going to finish the inside of the operating opening all the way around. It shouldn't take too long. There's not a whole lot of it, and I've done all the hard parts. I'm going to move over and do that far corner first because that's the longest section, and then I'll continue from there. Well, I have now installed a piece of fascia in this corner. I've also put in the last two pieces of former around this end, and I've added a strip of plywood on the inside of this small angled piece, so I think that will add a lot of strength. At the moment it still sticks out just a little bit at the bottom where my finger is, so I'm going to have to sand that once the glue is set and I can get the clamps off. It'll just take a couple of moments with the orbital sander and then it will clear, and that will be a lot stronger now. Anyway, I'm going to go in, let that glue set up, and I'll be out again later. So I'll see you then. I left these pieces clamping for an hour or so. I'm just about to start getting ready to put the fascia on top of them. I realise there's a piece missing in here. There it is, I just cut it. That will go in there, and that will stop the fascia from bowing inwards in the middle, in between the two formers. It's a little bit of a loose fit, but that doesn't matter. I will just glue it to the frame at the back and the masonite will hold it at the front. It doesn't matter that there's about a 1/16 of an inch gap. So all that's left to do now is to measure some pieces of fascia and get them installed. I'm going to start at this end and I'm just going to work my way around to where I finished up earlier today. Well, that is all the fascia installed, and also most of my clamps have been used up. All sizes. Usually I end up running out of the small ones, or the small and medium ones, but this time, with the nature of this railroad, I've also used up all the long ones as well around this corner. Anyway, that's all I'm going to attempt to do today. I'm going to go in now, leave those clamps to do their job overnight, and then I'll come out in the morning, spackle all the imperfections, drill all the holes for the control systems, and then get it painted. So I will see you then. Well, here it is with all the fascia installed and all the clamps removed. That was the first job I did this morning, was to put all the clamps away. Next thing I'm going to do is spackle all the joints and imperfections. Then I'm going to let that set, and then while that's drying, I will go around and drill all the holes for the turnout controls. So let me just get on with that, and I'll be right back. Well, I have now drilled all the holes in the fascia. At least I think I have all of them. All the turnouts are at the same height. I drilled them slightly less than 3 inches from the bottom, meaning that there was no chance of the hole wandering off by hitting the edge of the plywood behind it, behind the fascia. I've also got the holes for the isolating switches and the throttle plugins. Some of the spackle is not dry enough to sand yet, so I'm going to go inside, get on with something else, and I will come back out later and continue. Well, that is 2 coats of paint on the fascia. It may look a bit patchy now because it's just starting to dry. It will look a lot smoother, a lot flatter when I come back out again tomorrow morning. I don't want to disturb it, so all I can sensibly do now is leave it till it's dry. Well, it is Wednesday morning, and the paint on the fascia has had all night to get nice and hard. Last night I also spray painted all the fascia control faceplates flat black. Here they are. I'm going to start by reinstalling all the switch machine controllers. I'll have to retest everything just to make sure I got them all in the right places. And also last night I realized that there is one hole missing here. So I'll have to drill that, and hopefully I can make it neat enough that I don't need to touch up the paint afterwards. Well, I've now reinstalled all the fascia controls and I've tested them all. They all stay in just with friction. The paint around the rim of the hole helps to do that. I was a bit concerned that this one that I just drilled was going to fall out and it might need gluing, but I found one that was a nice tight fit in there. So that also stays without glue. For some reason, the control for the standard gauge turnout is showing backwards. I don't know why that is, because the switch machine is the same way round as all the others. Not to worry, I have more reversers. I'll just go in and get one next time I come back out again. I installed the first of the throttle plug-in points. I'm not going to do all the others just yet. I think it would look a whole lot better with black screws. I can't get them at my local Lowe's store, but I can order them online at Amazon. So I will do that now. I've got to go inside anyway and get the soldering kit so that I can hook up the isolating switches for the staging yard and the engine house. I now have all the isolating switches ready to assemble. I'm using these recessed cups by N3iX. I like them because it means that I can get the switches flush mounted so they don't catch on sleeves or anything like that when you walk by in the aisle. The easiest way to get them installed is to put the switches in the cups before attaching them to the fascia. And I've also done the soldering at this point. That way I don't have to do any soldering underneath the railroad. All I have to do now is thread the wires through the holes, hook them up to the bus wires, and then screw the face plates to the fascia. Well, that is all the isolating switches properly installed and tested. I've also removed all the temporary jumpers. Had to do that before I could test them. I've also gone around and tidied up all the drooping wires. If I pan around, hopefully there's nothing still hanging down. I don't think there is. The camera's a lot lower than my eye, so I will check the video when I go in just to see. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not going to install the LocoNet plug-in points just yet because I'm waiting for black screws. I ordered them from Amazon and they'll be here in a couple of days. Also, while I was inside, I ordered scenery supplies because I think I am ready to start working on that. Well, my black screws arrived this morning, so I have mounted all the controls on the fascia. There are 4 places that he can plug in his throttles. There's also 3 throttle holders and this really neat cup holder that I found in the box of parts that the client sent me. Didn't know what it was to start with until I unfolded it. I elected to put that in the narrow end of the aisle where it's out of the way. This throttle holder isn't where I wanted to put it. I would like to have mounted it over here where it's completely out of the way, because that one has to stay tethered at all times. Unfortunately, the curved fascia meant that the jaws got pinched together and the throttle would have been a tight fit in there. So that's why I moved it onto the straight section. That really didn't take any time at all. So now I have to figure out what I'm going to do next. Well, here is the railroad with all the controls and everything else hung on the fascia. I'm just going to do a full pan around. Don't think I did one last time. I also realized that last week I did not do a final operation of the drop gate. I think you deserve that. So here it is in the down position, hanging down near the floor. Hopefully I can do this with one hand while I hold the camera with the other. Sure, it's going to be a bit shaky. Hang on, I've got to do it I've got to hold it this way. Here it is. Not sure if you could see that. The joints are not invisible, but I think they're pretty good. Let me just drop it. You can see how this end works. Hopefully without dropping it. Let's do it from the other side. The difficulty here is holding it with 2 fingers while I operate the turnbuckle with the other one. And there it is. So hopefully that will give closure for last week's video. Well, that's all for this week. Hope you enjoyed the video, found it useful or interesting, or both. And I hope I gave my viewers closure for last week's video where I realised that I did not show the drop flat in operation after installing the fascia. Not quite sure what I'm going to get on with next week, but I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun, and I hope to see you back here for that. So in the meantime, thanks for watching, and bye for now.